Hello guys, what's up? How are you doing? Hope life is more than great wherever you are. My name is Pepe Cuenca, Spanish Grandmaster, and I'm here again with all of you to solve another user questions related with theory. And I hope you guys are also enjoying the Football World Championship. Maybe not so much the Germans until now, right? You guys lost against Mexico yesterday. This group is getting crazy, right? Also Brazil drew against Switzerland. What is going on in this Football World Championship? Well, let's forget about football and focus in chess. The user Carlos Torre, he was asking Pepe, in Robin's Van Kampen's King's Indian, you guys don't talk about the following line: c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g4, d6, knight g2, e2, short castles, and knight g3. And I'm extremely afraid. I don't know what to do against this line. White sometimes want to punish me and play h4, h5, bishop e3, queen d2, bishop h6, and gives me checkmate. What can I do? I'm so afraid, man. Well, so I also faced this line when I was in Cuba a month ago, or even less than a month ago. I was playing against Reader Diaz, an international master from Cuba, and he played against me this line. And I have to be honest with you, I didn't know about the line of shit. So I had to think over the board and play something decent. But this user has forced me again to study deeply a recipe against this line, and it's actually a pretty dangerous line. So I'm gonna give you two recommendations. In this first video, I'm gonna give you e5 and then the main, some sort of the main line, and then in the second video, only for premium members, we're gonna suggest you the move h5, which is extremely interesting, and it could surprise your opponents very easily. So this is gonna be the last video about this section, which is gonna be open for everybody. So as I'm telling you, the next videos in Spanish and English are gonna be only for premium members. All right, so e5, extremely natural move, right? So with this knight on g3, it would be a disaster for white to exchange on e5, right? Because the d4 square in all endgames would be extremely weak. So that's why white plays d5 in these positions, and now a5. c5 is a very interesting square for us, so we're gonna place a knight on c5 and then put some pressure on e4. So bishop e2 is normally played, knight a6, now h4. So white is coming to attack our king, right? So his idea is quite simple. He wants to play h5 in the next move. So we got to stop that. There's only one reasonable move here in this position. As I'm telling you, we can't let white playing h5 after bishop e3, queen d2, bishop h6 ideas will be extremely dangerous. So that's why we'll play h5. And one thing you have to keep in mind in this line. So try to be careful about sacrifices on h5. For example, white normally plays here bishop g5. And now, if you guys play knight c5, which could look like as a natural move for a human being, now bishop h5 is actually extremely already crashing. So g takes h5, knight takes h5, and now some of you could be asking, Pepe, what are you talking about, man? You have no idea about chess. I just play knight c to d7, protect f6, and nothing happens. Yeah, this looks like this, but after queen f3, the thing is you cannot even blink, right? You cannot even move your fingers in this position, since now you cannot move the queen to e8 because now f6 will be falling. You cannot move this knight for the same reasons. The king is extremely unsafe, and if you try to develop slowly by playing b6, this move is actually very strong. Knight to d1 with the idea of going knight e3 and then knight g4 or knight f5, and basically black is just losing in this position. So that's why try to remember all the sacrifices on h5, and after bishop g5 you just play queen e8. The thing is now, of course, bishop h5 doesn't make any sense without this pin on the diagonal h4 d8, right? Now queen d2 is played normally, so you introduce ideas related by going long castling, and then here there are many possibilities. So for example, you have to keep in mind that normally white's plan is to play long castle in, rook to d1 to g1, sorry, f3, knight f1, reallocating this knight, and then g4. And then this attack could be extremely dangerous. So for example, if you do nothing, some people have tried here king h7, let's say f3, knight g8, passive moves. Then after bishop h6, knight f1, f6 takes, and rook g1. White is already playing g4, and then black is in deep trouble. So to be very precise in this position, there are many possibilities. For example, many valid possibilities. Knight h7 is the main move, but we're going to recommend knight c5. And the main reason is that in most of games here, at this point, white has gone long castling, which is not the best move, which is not so accurate, and then we're gonna try to explain the reasons. Even Magnus Carlsen played here long castling. Andra Jabov equalized pretty easily, and then he went on to win that game against the world champion. So knight c5 here. Another thing that happens to many people here is that actually they're afraid of bishop h6. You guys don't have to be afraid of that bishop h6, and then this is going to be our first line that we are going to analyze in this position. As I'm telling you, here there are many possibilities. So long castling, bishop h6, f3, which is the best move, and knight to b5. Let's start with bishop h6, this position. So here it's going to be rather simple what we are going to do. We're just going to take on h6, queen takes h6, and queen e7. It could look dangerous for black here, right? But there's no sacrifice on h5, and white has to lose many tempi in order to create some sort of trouble, right? Because the natural plan would be to play f3, knight f1, and g4, and this is actually pretty slow. We're gonna play knight h7, queen f6, and queen g7 in order to kick that queen back from there, and then black's gonna have a healthy position. So let's say long castling, knight h7, f3, queen f6, knight f1, and queen g7. Black has to play one more precise move. Let's say, of course, if white exchanges queens here, there's no problem at all. So queen takes e7, king takes e7. I think black is even better. So we got this break on f5. The knight on f5, on c5, sorry, is extremely well placed. And let's say after queen e3, now white is threatening to play g4. This is the other thing you have to remember. So basically, whenever white is going to play g4 in good condition, just play f5. The other thing you have to remember is don't be afraid of bishop h6. So we played in this position. And let's say e takes f5, g takes f5, and there are many possibilities here. g3 or g4. You just can play f4 here. Black is better. If you play g3, a4, another idea you have to keep in mind in this position, you want to play a3 and then weaken this diagonal, and then some e4 could be extremely dangerous for white in certain positions. But there is a move here, f4, bringing Facundo to the action and now targeting the h5 pawn. And the thing is, the tactics favor black in this position. And some of you would be asking, Pepe, what is this guy saying, this stupid Spanish asshole all the time? Blundering pawns. What about if I just take on e5, knight g4, and then what about if I just take on g4? Well, the thing is, black can just play f4, and then the idea is to recapture on g4 with our bishop and then take on e5. So queen d4, bishop takes g4, and now we arrive to some forced line where white has to sacrifice an exchange. Why? Because if you play rook e1, after rook a e8, now e5 is gonna fall and black is just crashing. You can never take on d6 or play e6 because of obvious reasons. So that's why f4, queen d4, bishop takes e4, e takes d6 is the move, bishop takes e1, queen takes e5, c takes, queen takes, f3, knight to d2, f takes e2, rook g1, bishop f3, and then Jean gives this line. Actually, black can never be worse. You have always this security move, queen f4, in order to exchange queens, and then c4 and h4 are hanging, and then you can also play aggressively by playing rook e8 and then try to checkmate this king, right? But in any case, I would take black in this position, right? what else? As I'm telling you, it's not problematic at all. So let's analyze. Right. Okay, so this is the position. As I was telling you, we got to analyze bishop h6, long castling, knight b5 and f3. Let's go for long castling. This is the move that Magnus Carlsen played not so much time ago against Radjabov. And the thing is, now knight g4 is extremely good move. Now f2 is targeted, and white has several options. You could take on g4. This is the main move. Queen e1 is also possible, and knight b5 has been tried as well. But knight b5 is actually not very good, because after f6, black is just much better. You take on c7, there's queen d8, knight a8, and then f takes g5, and then this knight is trapped on e8, and then you got two pieces versus a rook, which is extremely nice for black. The thing is, what white has normally to return to e3, and now knight takes e3, queen takes e3, and king h7, threatening to go bishop h6 and winning the queen and winning the game on the spot. Let's say king b1, boom, bishop h6, queen c3, and queen e7. And who wants a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband or a love? If you got the bishop pair here in this position, you got all the all the dark squares in this position. You got this knight on c5, which is extremely well placed. And then another good thing is that white hasn't got any breaks, right? You cannot break on f4. Breaking on g4 is actually a dream, if not impossible, right? So white is just much better in this position. So knight b5 is a kind of stupid move. So there are only two reasonable options here for white. And the first one is queen to e1. Now we're gonna play f6, bishop d2, and bishop h6. Another thing you have to keep in mind is that with this structure, with all pawns placed in dark squares, it's normally interesting to exchange the dark squares bishops, right? So here, three options for white. Well, let's say two. You could take on h6, you can take on g4, and then you don't want to take on g4 because of knight d3, winning the game on the spot, and then you could also play f3, right? So let's start by analyzing bishop takes h6, knight takes h6, queen d2, and king h7. And the thing is, you maybe want to break with f4, but this only helps black, right? Because after taking on f4, queen takes f4, this square on e5 is extremely tasty for us. After bishop g4, let's say bishop takes, knight takes, now we're owners of the e5 square, and then all our knights are extremely well placed. Look at this knight on g3, looks pretty stupid doing anything, only in defensive tasks. Alright, so if you play with f3, you can just develop by bishop d7, knight f1, and again f5. Whenever g4 is a threat, takes g4 and knight d4. And remember, we got the f4 square here. This position is much better for black again. And the other move here that people have been trying is f3. You take on d2. Some of you could think, Pepe, what happens after queen d2? Now I cannot retreat my knight to h6. But don't forget, there's the f2 square. So that's why white has to recapture with the rook. And now knight h6, knight f1, bishop d7, knight e3. The rule I was talking about. Whenever white threatens to go g4, we play f5. And with the knight on e3, white is threatened to go g4. That's why we break with Facundo and play f5. E takes f5, knight takes f5, knight takes, bishop takes, and g4. But this is no trouble at all for black. You just take and then play bishop d7. And remember, now we have a central pass pawn and the f4 square, and this game is not so safe. g5, rook f4, h5, bishop f5, takes, and now actually our king is extremely well placed on g8, and the rook on f4 is controlling h4, and this bishop on g6 actually makes a fantastic job avoiding this king from c1 to escape, right? So this is after queen e1. Carlsen played bishop takes c4, which is the most natural move. Bishop takes c4, f3, bishop d7. And now again, there are different possibilities. You could play bishop h6. You can play bishop e3 as Magnus Carlsen did. You can play knight f1, or you can play knight to e2. Let's start with bishop e3, and so f6, again this same idea. Bishop takes e7, king takes e7, rook d to f1, and actually f4, as I was telling you, is nothing special. So now don't forget that we have the ability or the possibility to start a counterplay on the queen side, and actually this could be very dangerous for white. Look at this king on c1, it's so sad, right? And we got the b file in order to attack the white king, and the knight on c5 is extremely well placed. And as I was telling you, white hasn't got so many interesting breaks on the king side. So white is much worse in this position. So bishop a6, nothing special. And let's continue by analyzing knight f1. Again, whenever this knight goes to f1, f5 is a possibility. E takes f5, g takes f5. And we got many ideas related by going a4, a3, weakening this diagonal with some e4 ideas. This queen can come to g6. Again, this queen and bishop looking to this king with those two dangerous diagonal. No breaks for white here in this position. We got this break, this possibility on b5 as well. So I am so happy with this position, right, for black. So knight f1 is nothing special. Knight e2 has been tried as well. But again, we can play a4 here. b5 was also interesting. g4. I mean, I'm trying to explain you what happens if white goes crazy and tries to kick our ass very, very fast by playing g4. The thing is, after h takes e4, h5, this could look actually extremely dangerous for black, right? White is playing bishop h6 and then taking on g7, knight takes g6, queen h6. This is checkmate. This is the same as the dragon. This has been the nightmare of my life. What can I do? Well, who solves the problem of the time? Your mom solves the problem, your girlfriend, your boyfriend solves the problem, your brother solves the problem, your dog, your damn dog solves the problem. No, it's fucking Facundo who all the time solves the situation. f5. Now takes on g4, takes on g4, and with this bishop on d7, you actually are sure that this g file is never going to be open. So this position is very safe for black, and again, black is better. Alright, and if white plays, knight g2 e2 and a4, if white plays bishop e3, whenever white plays bishop e3, I like b6 in order to recapture on c5 in case white wants to go for it. Rook h to g1, f5. Whenever white threatens to go g4, we play f5. The only rule I'm talking about today. E takes, g takes, and then this position is very good for black again. This queen can come to g6, b5 is on the air all the time, so no problem at all. The last move we got to analyze is bishop e3, and then we're going to take a look on Carlsen against Radjabov game. Radjabov played b6, king b1, and king h7, and after queen c2, a4 was played, knight e2, and then f5. Whenever this knight retreats to f1 or e2, f5 is actually extremely interesting. Takes, takes, rook h3, and Radjabov played king h8, so no problems in this diagonal. f4 and knight e4, and Radjabov already had a great position. The game continued, takes, takes, rook g3, and bishop g4 blocking this rook, and Carlsen realized that his position was not very good, and he sacrificed the exchange, but not with enough compensation, and he ended up losing that game. So that's why long castling, I think, is not the best move in this position. I think the best move is f3. So let's try to analyze what happens if white plays knight to b5, attacking c7. The thing is, you can punish that move by playing knight e4. Knight e4, knight e4, and then there are two possibilities. You can play queen e3, you can take on c7. If you take on c7, queen d7 is good enough. You could take on d2, but queen d7 is good enough. Takes, takes, and bishop f5, and it's clear that black cannot be worse in this position, right? White plays queen e3, you got two options. You can take on g5, and you can play bishop f5. Both variations are gonna lead to some line where we're gonna sacrifice an exchange with black, but where we are gonna have extremely great chances to get an advantage. Let's, for example, analyze knight takes e5, knight c7, queen a4. This is the key idea that you're gonna give a check on d2. Knight a8, queen b4, queen d2, takes, knight e4, king e1, and knight c5. And black is an exchange now, but we got this monster on g7. We got ideas by bringing this knight, this bishop to f5, and this knight on b6, sorry, is actually trapped. So there are many ideas by bringing the bishop to d8 and then trapping this guy on b6, right? And as I told you, e4 is all the time in the air, a4, a3, all the time. So the gene says this position is equal. But if I had to take someone, I would take black without no doubts, right? Because as I'm telling you, it's more tricky to play with the white pieces. And if we are material down and the gene is saying equal, it's because it's very, very risky for white. So knight takes e5 is one option. The other option here is just to play bishop f5. Knight takes c7, queen a4, knight takes a8, queen b4 check, no queen d2 this time, king f1, rook a8, and this line again looks very, very dangerous for white. If you don't trust me, you can trust Ng. So knight b5 actually doesn't make any sense. The move that makes a lot of sense here is f3, because now you want to go long castle and then knight g4 is not going to be possible. So white's plan is going to be, as I was telling you at the beginning of this video, to play long castling, rook d to g1, knight f1 and g4. So we got to do something about it. So after f3 we got to play bishop d7, and after bishop d7 white plays long castling, knight h7, bishop e3, b6, rook d to g1 and a4. And now black plays knight f1. Again, the rule of thumb, whenever white threatens to play g4, we play f5, and here we do the same, f5. And here white actually has two choices. He can play g4 straight away, or he can take on f5 and then play g4. If you take on f5, you make sure that the g file is going to be open. But of course, after taking on f5, this bishop on g7 could actually have a healthy life in the future of the game, right? So let's try to analyze first e takes f5, g takes f5, g4. And this is going to be a crazy position. You take on g4, take on g4, and here two possibilities. You can play f4, you play a3. White has two pass pawns on h on g file. We got two pass pawns on the f file and on the e file. Very, very complicated position in the style of King's Indian player. Let's try to analyze for a3. a3, black can actually take on f5 or can play b3. If you play b3, boom, knight takes b3 is extremely interesting. A takes e3 and f4, bishop f2, and boom, a2. The thing is, after knight takes e2, boom, e4. And when we sacrifice a piece, but look at all those pieces on the back rank, on the 7th rank, we got these two monsters on knight, queen e5 is coming. Black is crashing in this position. If you play bishop d4, then even rook takes a2 works, right? So that's why after a3, maybe the best move is g takes f5, a takes b2, king takes b2, and king h8. And the gene says this is more or less equal, a bit better for white, but this is damn crazy, right? So I suggest you to go for these lines because anything can happen, right? The other variation, which is maybe safer, is to play f4 here, bishop takes e5, because if you play, bishop f2, then e4 is crashing, bishop takes c5, b takes c5, now knight e4 is almost only move. If you play bishop d3, e4 is gonna come, sacrificing the pawn. But look at this guy now, g7, you can play a3, weakening this diagonal, queen e5, king c2, knight f6. If you go bishop f3, boom, knight takes e4, there is a check at the end of the line on f5, winning the rook. So that white has to play knight e4, f3, bishop d1, and f4. And this is very, very, very crazy. So again, a very interesting line. And white could play, as I was telling you, g4 straight away. Now we play f4, bishop f2, and now you could keep the tension on the g file, or you can play this strange line but good, which is just to take on g4 and knight f6, attacking e4, white plays bishop f3, protecting everything, and king f7. And some of you could be asking, what's going on here? Well, it's actually pretty complicated. Whenever white plays h5, we close the position with g5 and no troubles for our queen. And whenever white plays g5, we can just play rook h8. Sorry, whenever white plays g5, we can just jump to h5, no problem. So some plan for black could be to play rook h8, maybe even bring the king to e7. And there's a lot of tension in the position. We got ideas with b5 as well in certain positions. And yeah, the Jin says it's a bit better for white, but nothing special. So again, a complicated position that King's Indian player would love to play. So this being my recipe against this line with knight g2 e2 and knight g3. As I was telling you, in the next couple of days we're gonna publish another recipe by playing h5 very early. So let me show you. So after knight g3, we're gonna recommend as well h5. What's the idea? Well, if white tries to transpose to the lines that we have just seen with h4, now knight c6 is very strong, because after d5, knight a5, f4 is not gonna be strong, because now the g4 square is available. Instead, you play knight c6, d5, knight e5. After h3, for example, f4 is gonna kick this knight back from e5, and that's why h5, h4. Now we can play knight c6. Of course, there are many other possibilities, and then those possibilities will be analyzed in the next video. I hope you guys are doing fine and try to behave well, otherwise I'll go and punish you. So see you in the next video. Be good, my friends. Bye bye. Bye bye.